everyone. This is AJ, and today we want to talk about the Bitcoin price, and we'll do some chart analysis. As you can see on my screen, I'm already sharing my screen to show you the Bitcoin's price action, and we'll also talk about Bitcoin's dominance trends as well. And this analysis is based on the charts that you'll see on my screen, reflecting a recent milestone in Bitcoin's price action, as well as notable shifts in Bitcoin's market dominance. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's talk about the Bitcoin price action, which is on the daily chart. So as you can see on my screen here, that this is the daily chart of Bitcoin. Bitcoin just made an all-time high. Today, in fact, it's trading at 195.58 cents. So that's 107K in short, to keep it simple. Over the last week, Bitcoin's rally has continued unabated, which means it's just very strongly going in one direction, which is, upwards, pushing it into new all-time high this week, as I mentioned. It's in that high territory at the moment where the price has convincingly broken above the six-figure threshold, which was a big psychological resistance, which of course I'm talking about here. And it looks like the price is going to be ranging between 100,000 and 110,000. That's just the way the price action is moving, and is what it's telling us. We will look at the charts in detail in a minute. Now, this move beyond a key psychological milestone indicates the strong bullish sentiment that you can see on the chart with all those green candles. Now, with each subsequent daily candle closing near its high, all major moving averages on the daily time frame are sloping upwards, as you can see on my screen here. Now, that is aligned in a bullish formation, and price action remains comfortably above them. So every time the price comes and touches the EMEA 20 or EMEA 10, as you can see on the chart on my screen, zoom that in a little bit. Yeah, the buyers come in and they're buying the dip, and the price keeps going upwards. Now, if you look at the move beyond this, what should we expect, right? Now, like I said, all moving averages are, sloping upwards, which means, the price is in a very bullish formation, and price action remains comfortably above that 100K. Now, this structure suggests a robust uptrend, supported by sustained buying pressure and only minimal profit taking so far above that 100K. Now, to prove that point, I want to go back a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I want to go back all the way to 2021. So the reason I want to do that is, if you can see this rectangle here, in 2021, this was around 11th of October 2021, price touched an all-time high of 69,000 US dollars, right? And then we saw that, price had retreated from that 69,000. So if you look at the charts, I'm just going to mark my chart with this mouse here. So before that, it made an all-time high back in April of 2021, which it had touched around 65,000 US dollars. And then, of course, the same year in 2021, in October, it touched $69,000. And ever since, the price was, sloping downwards, and it was in a bear market. And only, I would say, since this year, so after almost 2.5 years, price tried to reach its all-time high, which actually, in fact, was in March sometime. Let's look at a chart here. It was exactly on the 13th of March, 2024, when the price penetrated its previous all-time high of 69,000 US dollars, and it made a new all-time high of $73,650. Now, your charts might be slightly different. I'm using the BTC USDT chart of Binance on my charts here. You might have from some other exchange, but give or take, it's in principle, it's still the same. The date should be the same. The price points might be slightly higher, over and above or under than what I'm quoting here. So take it with a pinch of salt, will you? And then what happened ever since March is the price was actually consolidating. So as you can see on my chart here, I've drawn a channel which was sloping downwards. This was ever since March. And all the way down to, I would say, September of this year, when the price came all the way down to around 52,000 US dollars. This was in August. Sorry, not July, that was August. 5th of August is when it made this year's low. No, not this year's low. Sorry, it made a low since breaching the previous all-time high, and this low was on the 5th of August for $49,000. Can you believe it? August, which means we are in December. So that's like 4 months ago. 4 months ago, the price was less than half of what it is today. Now, ever since the price was consolidating in that channel, it took its time. People were booking profits, accumulating, and then what happened, as it normally happens with a rally, base, and then a rally. So price broke out of that resistance level, which was around the previous all-time high of 69,000 US dollars. And ever since, as you can see, the price has been going upwards. And very recently, the price broke it reached the psychological resistance of 100,000. This was a psychological resistance as well as a technical resistance. So when it reaches such a high price point, people tend to book profits, and that's exactly what happened. Now, moving on to some of the technical points, we spoke about moving averages. Let's talk about the momentum and trend. So momentum indicators, while potentially overbought, I would imagine. I'm not a tech. This was just for you to show the moving averages so that you can compare and see the strength of that rally. But if I do have to look at the momentum indicators, while potentially, like I said, overbought, it has not triggered a major pullback, and buyers seem firmly in control, and which is a really good thing to see, especially this time of the year where people are also expecting that Santa Claus rally, as it happens in the stock market. Now, in terms of volume and participation, trading volumes appear healthy. There is likely a strong inflow of capital as mainstream attention intensifies after the six-figure breakout. 100,000, everybody predicted, oh yeah, it's going to go, it's going to go, it's going to go. Then what? We have seen price retrace from the 100,000 all the way down to 90,000. And then again, the buyer stepped in, and ever since it's just going up. And this week, it made an all-time high again of $107,000. Now, let's look at some of the potential near-term scenarios that the price can do. So the first thing I want to look at is the bullish continuation. Yeah, it's a technical term that we use in technical analysis. With strong upward momentum and no immediate overhead resistance, Bitcoin may continue to grind higher, targeting incremental psychological levels like 110,000, as I mentioned, and even potentially 120,000 US dollars. I think one catalyst in January is going to be when Donald Trump takes office. So I think the price will either shoot up. My prediction is that it will most likely shoot up first before it retraces, giving other buyers, who are sitting on the bench with their money to pump in when they, see a good dip worth buying. Now, a scenario of steady gains punctuated by brief periods of consolidation would reflect a mature, orderly bull trend, right? And it's very healthy. It won't be any surprise if the price traces back. So let me just use some drawing tools here. So if price traces back to this level, which is around 90,000, but I think before that we have this 100,000 price point, which was a psychological resistance, but now it'll become a psychological support. As you can see, there are still people buying above the 100,000 level. Let me start again here, actually, because I want to use 100,000 as the first support. So let's draw a line here, 100,000 in a second. Okay, so that's 100,000. Let me just make sure. 1, 2, 3. That's perfect. Okay, so now you can see this blue line here. This is the psychological support level. I'm going to use my drawing tools here to see if the price comes down here. It should find some buyers. Maybe it consolidates here, goes up to 104, 5,000, comes down here, forms some sort of a double, bottom, goes up, creates a new all-time high, comes down to retest this 107 level, and then, so on and so forth, right? Now, this is just an example. It's not, I'm not predicting that this is how it will go. It could go. There's a probability of it going, the way I described just now. And the bullish continuation probability. Now, in terms of pullbacks and consolidation, even in strong bull market, pauses are very common. A mild pullback towards the key 100,000, as I just mentioned, or a test or short-term moving averages like EMA 10 or 20 would not disrupt the larger uptrend. Instead, it could solidify that 100,000 as the new support floor. This is what I was, showing you on that blue line. And a well-supported consolidation around these levels would suggest that the market is absorbing supply at higher prices and gearing up for the next leg up. And that next leg up is, your guess is as good as mine. So that's what I think the consolidation should do to the price. Now, let's talk about the scenario where there's a deeper retracement. In broader market conditions, suddenly, if we see it's tend to drop, if the price is, it looks like the price is dropping a lot or suddenly goes sour due to macroeconomic shifts, regulatory news, or investor profit taking, Bitcoin could correct more substantially. In this case, watch for a move back toward 90 to 95,000. This is where this the rectangle top is. This was the range from previous all-time high back in March 2021 up until this month or this year, I would say. So that's why I've drawn this rectangle. The price could come down to this 90,500 price point to retest it, which again will be very, very healthy for Bitcoin. Now, while more pronounced, such pullback might still leave the long-term bullish structure intact, provided buyers re-emerge at these lower levels. So there shouldn't be any kind of scaremongering at that level. Now, mind you, there was some scare earlier this week, which was around Google's quantum chip of Willow. We say, oh, now people will be able to, the bad actors will be able to hack Bitcoin. Well, as we saw, that's not the case. It will take a lot of years and a lot of computing power for anyone to kind of hack the Bitcoin price or Bitcoin wallet. And in the same week, so we saw the Willow Google news this week, and in the same week we saw the Bitcoin price, like just today, crossing that $107,000, which is a new all-time high. Now, let's talk about shifting gears. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin dominance very quickly. So I'm going to change my chart and show you this one. I hope you can see my Bitcoin dominance chart. Okay, now you can. Okay, perfect. So this chart tells us what is the Bitcoin dominance compared to altcoins, right? So the Bitcoin dominance chart shows a recent period of volatility, as you can see. I'm going to show you my mouse here, this one. Look at this, and then this, it's going up. Bitcoin dominance is going up again. After topping out around 61.5%, which was over here, this was in November, 21st November precisely, and then experiencing a sharp drop to about 54%. Dominance is now rebounding, hovering around 57% level. This bounce suggests that, Bitcoin is once again asserting market leadership. And there's no surprise, right? In a bull rally, in a Bitcoin rally, this tends to happen. Now Bitcoin is rallying and it will find some base. In the meanwhile, the altcoins will take off. Hey, at least that's my hope and that's my expectation. It's probabilistic. And once again, nothing in this video is financial advice. Please do your own research. Okay. Now, shift in market leadership. The earlier decline in dominance hinted at all coins gaining ground. You saw Ethereum, ADA, Solana, and all those coins really shooting up. Perhaps as investors rotated some capital into more speculative opportunities following Bitcoin's initial surge. So the reverse back toward 58% dominance level signals that capital is flowing back into Bitcoin, likely due to its recent breakout to all-time highs and the blue chip perception it holds in crypto markets. As you know, Bitcoin is the leader. That's what I mean by blue chip. It's always going to be, more people are going to buy more Bitcoin than any other altcoin, especially when it comes to, those financial institutions. Now, investor preference, as Bitcoin pushes into the six figures, the risk appetite may shift. Some traders and institutions prefer to concentrate in the most liquid, established asset during periods of price discovery, reducing exposure to altcoins. It's very, very natural. It happens in every bull cycle and every scare. The first thing we'll see that the money is, drained out of altcoins, and then it's either pumped into Bitcoin or people just sit on the bench with that money. So the confidence is, regained. Now, this can drive Bitcoin dominance even more higher, especially if altcoins underperform due to profit taking or capital rotation back into Bitcoin. Right? I don't want to make this video too long, so I would like to summarize that meanwhile, Bitcoin dominance after a notable downswing is recovering. It reached an all-time high. This suggests that the market's focus is returning to Bitcoin as it explores uncharted price territory. Over the coming weeks, keep an eye on whether the Bitcoin's rally continues without significant corrections. and watch Bitcoin dominance to see if it reclaims more market share. Both factors that could signal prolonged strength for the crypto market's flagship asset, Bitcoin. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much